let's start by taking a look at what account takeovers are. So what exactly is an account takeover? An account takeover allows cyber criminals to pull off nefarious acts such as modifying important account settings, sending phishing messages, stealing sensitive data, and more. It's fueled by the increase in daily massive data breaches, social engineering, phishing, and brute force attacks. Hackers gain access to personal identifiable information, or PII, which leaves consumer accounts vulnerable to takeovers. With 15 billion account credentials sitting on the dark web, bad actors are buying username and passwords for a couple dollars without any hassle, which are ultimately the keys to unlocking one's sensitive information. Now, ATOs can range from a variety of industries like social media to fintech and even gaming. These forms of cyber attacks have various objectives, such as illegitimately gaining access to accounts, stealing PII from malicious activities like identity theft, compromising access credentials for multiple platforms, networks, and systems, damaging the reputation of the targeted individual or organization by misusing the hijacked account, and lastly, extracting sensitive data for stealing assets like funds or cryptocurrency. Before I dive deeper, I wanted to demonstrate how ATOs really affect us. They're definitely a growing problem, and the numbers prove it. ATOs are rapidly increasing, with over a 300% increase since 2019. They're also known to be a household fraud, where 1 in 5 households have fallen victim to an ATO. Something that's also very prevalent to ATOs are SIM swap attacks, which I'll dive into more in depth here in a bit. But it can be seen that SIM swap attacks are extremely effective, with an 80% effectiveness rate. And lastly, another component of ATO fraud tactic, number recycling, with more than 100,000 phone numbers being recycled in the US every day. Now let's take a look at how exactly ATOs happen. So a successful account takeover can be simplified into 4 steps. So for the first step, the fraudster will compromise the user's credentials. They'll usually begin by going through an automated script to attempt a username or password combination across many accounts until one works. Second, the fraudster will test if the accounts actually work. We'll take the login credentials and other stolen details to use them in the intended system to see if it's valid, current, and provides access. They then poke around to test the level of access given. Third, the fraudster will bypass MFA. Now that the fraudster is armed with those stolen credentials, they will then bypass any MFA associated with the account. This step varies based on the security system, and hackers use a range of different methods to bypass MFA, such as brute force attacks or social engineering. The last step, fraudsters here will now maximize the attack by accessing higher value accounts. Often the final step in the account takeover is to up the ante by using the access gained to dig deeper into accounts connected to the stolen one. By doing this, fraudsters aim to break into an even higher value account to obtain much more sensitive data and bigger payoffs. Once the account's compromised, the bad actor often changes account settings, passwords, login names, security questions, and other key account credentials. Unfortunately for the victim, the actual account holder, they are now locked out of their account. Their attempts to regain access become much more difficult as all the security prompts are now different and controlled by the fraudster.